Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. I'm adjusting my monitor real quick. Ah, there, I can see it better. My name is Denise Mika Hutchins and I am broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. It is Wednesday, which means it's time for an illustration stream. This is my second week doing my new illustration schedule, my new streaming schedule, which includes 2 days of illustration and 1 Chibi Friday. And I really, really wish I could give you a look out my studio window right now because it is totally magical. It is just snowing. It's like dreamy. It's got these big flakes and the little flakes too, and it's just pouring down, and everything is all covered in snow, and it's kind of a little bit foggy in the distance because of the snow. Anyway, my camera does not go whoop. If it went whoop, then I would turn it for you so you could look out the window. But I'm just gonna have to enjoy this magical view all by myself and just tell you about it. Oh, Exie, hello! Exie is here. How are you? So glad to see you. Exie is always here, very first minute. Oh, good. Always glad to hear it. How are you? I am good too. Yep. The snow outside is just so awesome. I can't believe it. I was walking this morning, but it wasn't like this. I went on a walk this morning. I normally run, but I hurt my knee. So I've been walking instead, and it was so great walking in the snow, but this would have been even better because the snowflakes are so huge and it's just coming down. Okay. It doesn't do justice. The way I can explain it in words does not do justice to how amazing the snow is right now. I am so happy. Here's where we are on this illustration. This is watercolor paper, 300-pound cold pressed watercolor paper. It came from a big sheet which I cut, so you can see the natural edges is the deckled edge, and then this is where I cut it. And I am transferring my sketch onto watercolor paper. So I also have my watercolor stuff out because I'll definitely finish transferring this because I'm about halfway done. Like almost exactly halfway done. So that's what I'm going to work on first. Oh, okay, Exie will be back. See you soon! Let me get a sip of my tea real quick. That's nice. It's a spiced oolong tea. It's oolong tea with Indian chai style spices. It's very good. It's very tasty. Okay, so what I've been doing is using my red pen to transfer these lines. That way I can see the red ink and tell exactly what I've already transferred, and which is great for if you have to stop in the middle like this. So I'm just going to pick up where I left off. I'm moving from the top right corner down to the bottom left. And I've been sort of ignoring this string of birds, so I think I'll finish this first, and then I'll do these birds, and then I'll do this corner. So here we go. And I've got all my watercolor stuff ready to go. I couldn't remember at first which, because I have several different watercolor kits depending on the project or what I want to use. Or sometimes I like to use watercolor pencils, but I remembered when I was looking through my drawer of watercolor supplies that I was using this one palette, or at least I'm 98% sure that's what I was using before. So I got that out. And I got my bowl of water already. It's nice and full and clean. Depending on how things go, I might have to stop at some point and change the water, because if the water gets too dirty, I worry that it will bring the pigment from the dirty water onto the page instead of the pigment that I want. So I'm prepared to do that as well. It'll be so nice. I just wrote about it on Patreon, but I'm very close or at least I'm more than halfway. I'm basically 60% of the way to the goal that I set to get a utility sink installed in here. And then if I have that for streams like this, or anytime I'm using wet media, I will have a sink just like 5 feet over, right over there. So I won't have to leave the room. I won't have to go up the stairs or try to open a door with a thing of water in my hand or something, you know. So that'll be really nice. It seems like I should be able to get that installed by the end of the year at the latest, at the rate we've been going. And if anybody joins my Patreon, then that will be even more funds going toward getting the utility sink. So it might get installed even sooner. That would be awesome. Okay, so I finished that leaf and the little bit of branch that was left, and so now I'm on to, oh, I just got my step book goal. Look at that. Goal. My Captain Marvel. I told you I went on a walk. My Captain Marvel Garmin watch. I'm just going to do the Gryphons, I think, and then I'll do the branch to get the Gryphons on. I just like to group it in my mind by logical groups of lines. That way I feel less likely to skip a little tiny patch or something. Because that has happened. I check the sketch and I'm like, what? How did I miss this whole thing? But it happened. So I tried to do little tricks to help myself get all the lines in there. I think another reason why sometimes it's easy to miss a patch is because this is the third time I'm drawing this at this point. Because first, for this technique, first you draw your sketch, then you trace the sketch onto the tracing paper. Then you draw on the back of the tracing paper with graphite or something so that it will transfer down. And then you draw a third time, tracing over your trace, and that's how you transfer. There's plenty of other ways to transfer lines. You can even transfer ink lines using certain solutions. But I like this. It's kind of repetitive, but I also feel like it helps me refine little teeny tiny details in the lines as well, drawing it 3 times. There's plenty of chances to change things in that series of repetitions. Can't believe the snow. I'm so happy. Last month was so dry and boring. It was worth it. It was worth it to accept the dry, boring December. Though it was nice on Boxing Day. We got 1 day. So in December, we basically got like 2 days of decent snow, and then they melted away, like by the next day or something. So on Boxing Day, it was nice because that was like our second big day of snow. And it was like this because I walked around. There's a nature reserve near me, and I went over there and just walked around and watched the snow and watched the birds on the ponds and in the bushes. And I also watched a lot of trail runners. It was funny. There were so many trail runners. I mean, I run trails myself, so I totally understand, but it was funny because I normally don't encounter so many. I think what it was is that I stayed out for so long, because I stayed out for like 2 hours because it was just so nice. I didn't want to leave. A magical, snowy nature walk. And actually, I decided, because I did a trail run in that reserve for I like to do some sort of physical activity, like a run or a walk or something for New Year's Day. So I decided to do a trail run there. And that's what I said I hurt my knee. That's how I hurt my knee. And it's not because I was out of shape. It's because I was out of trail running shape. I've been running an hour 3 days a week on roads for months. So it wasn't that I didn't have the muscular strength or something, but it's totally different. I mean, I guess it was that I didn't have the muscular strength, but it was the strength to do like climbing up the hills and that part of the trail running. So I decided that was great. The silver lining is that I'm now going to, once I'm good enough to start running again, is Fridays will be trail running day, and I'll just go over to the nature reserve because it's so relatively close. And then that way I won't wreck my knee if I decide to do a random trail run at some point. Coming along nicely. 2 more little Gryphons. I'll have another sip of tea. And another excuse to look at the snow. Okay, back to drawing. Back to drawing. I'm really excited to see how long it takes me to watercolor this, because the sketch took me less time than I thought. It only took a single 2-hour live stream. So maybe the painting won't take very long either, and I'll be able to get more illustrations done than I figured. I mean, I'm not actually figuring on anything, but last year I had made it my goal to create 12 illustrations like this size and this level of thought put into it. And then I was only able to do 2. So that's why I decided to combine live streaming, because live streaming was very successful. I didn't miss a stream unless it was for an emergency or I was sick. So, since I'm already finishing steps faster than I expect for this, I may finish more illustrations than the sort of vague expectation in my head is. I guess I would be super stoked if I could get an illustration a month done. That's 12 illustrations. I've been aiming for that for years, and it just has not happened. But even if I got less than that, it's still, I'm sure I will still make more than I did last year, just based on this progress. Okay, I did make one little undesired line on here. That's right here on the tail. So I'm going to take my teeny tiny eraser, very small eraser, and erase that off of the final piece. I think that's another reason why I like using graphite. In one of my painting classes toward the end of my degree, the professor questioned why I would want to use graphite, because the graphite still shows up under the watercolor. he was like, I would use, I think he said he'd use charcoal because the charcoal just sort of disappears when it gets the water on it. But, and of course, it was nice to think about that. But ultimately, yes, I like using graphite because I think it's easier to erase. And I don't have any problem whatsoever with it showing up. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I'm using graphite. I'm not like ashamed of using graphite or something. I'm not a watercolor purist or anything, so yeah, stuff like that. It's so easy to fix. A little line, you didn't mean to draw it quite like that. Totally okay, just get your little tiny eraser out. For anybody who's wondering, this is the Tombow Mono Zero eraser. I'm not holding it so you can see it. Let's see if it'll focus. There we go. Tombow Mono Zero. And you can get refills too, so it's really nice. Beep. Just a little click eraser. They have a slightly bigger one too. May as well show you it. This one is a square tip. Oh, it's not focusing. There we go. There. Well, sort of focused. I have those, and then a slightly bigger, and then a real big one. Now, at one point, there was this artist whose work, I mean, I still like their work, but at one point they made a post or a comment somewhere that was like, you should never erase. You should never use an eraser. I was like, what? And it was like, it's this sort of another purist mentality that, what? I could understand where they were coming from, because if you rely too much on the eraser, then you won't be able to, it'll be a lot harder to make progress, but I don't think you should never use an eraser. Oh, Satuita is here. Hello! It's so unusual to see you on a Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. How are you? Are you enjoying this snow? I bet you are. I love this snow. I think I was very loud just now because I heard my own voice echo. Shows how much I love the snow. It's so awesome. You asked me the same thing. Yes. I am so happy about it. It was so nice on my walk this morning. And then it stopped. It actually started stopping on the end of my walk. And I was like, oh man, it's over. But now the snow is even better now. This is even better snow than it was then. I just love it when it's snowing or raining or anything during a live stream, especially because I keep looking up and out the window. Yes, huge chunks. Yes, that's exactly what it is. This is the best. This is the best. Maybe after this, I didn't budget for it in my food log, but maybe I'm gonna make myself some hot cocoa anyway, just because it's so nice with the snow to have a tasty hot cocoa. Or maybe I'll have hot cocoa for my dessert. Although I really like the oatmeal bars that I've been having for dessert this week. Oh yeah, we must have been walking around the same time then. So that's what I was seeing too. The sun was still veiled by the clouds, but was making everything orange. Even the falling snow was all orange, so it was very pretty. I was like, no, don't go, snow. But then the snow didn't really stop at that point. With the sun, when the sun was most bright during my walk, the snow was not stopping yet. So it was like this amazing combination of natural forces. Ah, dreamy. I don't have the fancy, but I have my Captain Marvel tumbler with chai-style spiced oolong tea. So we're drinking tea and watching the snow together. I just realized I left my overhead light on. I'm going to turn that off real quick. because it's right behind me, so it makes me cast a shadow. Like this. Okay. Got that off. So happy. When I checked the weather report, like, maybe 2 hours ago, it said it was basically going to snow all the way until evening. It's so wonderful. I love it. I love it. To me, this is Idaho. Because when I first moved here, I think I was 8 when we moved here, but I had lived in the south, well, the southern part of the United States my entire life until then, so I had seen snow, but like because we went to the mountains and there was snow in the mountains. But when we moved to Idaho, it was the first time that it snowed a whole bunch in the place where I lived, and I walked to school in it and stuff. So to me, this feels like Idaho. Big snows, Idaho. Okay, we're getting to this really jumbly part here. Hopefully I don't miss any lines, but I'm just gonna give this a look over real quick to make sure I haven't missed anything yet. I'm even looking all the way at the stuff that I did last week, just in case. I don't think I missed anything. And sometimes, because the pen doesn't always put ink out, because I'm trying not to push too hard, I don't want to puncture the paper. So like right here, there was no ink. I can sort of see an indentation, but then when I look underneath, it was definitely transferred right there. I'm also looking closely at all the little different body parts and lines for these Gryphons. So they're the stars of this show, so they really need to be complete. I think I've gotten everything so far. Yeah. Man, I remember. And that was the second flock of chickens that I took care of too. So interesting. The first house we lived in, we were just renting it, and they for exchange for taking care of their chickens, they let us have the eggs. Of course, I didn't care about. Even before I went vegan, I did not like eggs, and so I didn't care about that at all. I just liked taking care of animals. So I was very happy to take care of their chickens. And there was a big, big for us, because we were kids, but there was a canal, an irrigation canal all around 2 sides of the property. Well, like it went through the property at one point. And then they had this super awesome, like magical playhouse as well. That I guess they built for their kid who had grown up or whatever, you know, and it was so fun to play in there. Like, I'm pretty sure it even had a second floor, like it had a bunk up. Yeah. I wonder if it was the pond or if it was the irrigation canal. Either way. Yeah. It was sad. I really liked that house, but then they wanted to sell it, so. And I guess we weren't buying. I mean, I was too young to really know what was going on with that kind of thing, but it's like, oh, why are we moving? I love this place. The chickens and the canal. Magical playhouse, and there were so many trees. And so the snow was super magical with all the big evergreen trees. Interesting. It's also, I guess it was also good to leave because we were also having our mail stolen. I remember that. That was one of the negative things of living there, since it turned out that the actual mail carrier was stealing our mail. So maybe it was good that we left. I mean, we probably got a decent mail carrier after they were caught, but even as a kid, that was a big enough deal that I remember that part. Like, what? Why would anybody do that? That's messed up. Don't steal our mail. Yeah, that was also, I think, the first place I had my own room. And not only that, my room was like this office. So it actually had its own door to the outside. So it was awesome. I loved being able to just go straight outside from my room without going through the house. I also remember I was so happy it had a fireplace. We'd had fireplaces before in California, but having a fireplace with the snow, and then the fireplace, totally magical. That's how it is now. I hope we can get our fireplace here fixed. It'd be broken. Well, it's not broken, but it's not really that safe to operate, so we haven't used it for over a year now. So close to done. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more leaves. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. It's like closest thing to a fireplace if you haven't got one. Nice cedar incense. I'm thinking about the watercolor. I like to start from light to dark. So I think it's going to be interesting because I think it will be the light colored parts of the Gryphons and then everything else, and then the dark colored parts of the Gryphons because they're black and white. So that'll be interesting. Ooh, but I know what I'll do first. First, I'll put down an overall wash to give everything a tint. And really drive home the seasonal, the bright red foliage that I'm going to be painting. Oh, nice. Is it like a pack with multiple scents, or is it a single one that has all those scents in it? Multi-pack. I only these days light incense when it's actually nice outside because I like to open the puppies follow me around like my little shadows, so since their noses are insanely strong compared to a human's, I only light the incense with the window open. I don't want to make them uncomfortable, because I think even if they were uncomfortable, they wouldn't leave. So they wouldn't leave to save themselves. They would rather suffer and be next to me. Okay, just a few more leaves left. Oh, and this line on this leaf. Yeah, that's better. Oh, I'm so excited. This is gonna look so good when it's done, if I do say so myself. And I will say so myself, because I wouldn't make stuff that I don't like. I like the work I do, and I do the work I do because I like it. Oh, interesting. Little bricks of compressed sawdust. So is it like a product that's using up what would otherwise be a waste product? I don't know if that's something you know, though. Oh man, you could just get like just get some Lincoln logs. But that's cute because you put the incense in and then it makes it like the smokestack is going, right? The chimney is working. One more leaf. Reminds me of that dragon incense burner that I got in Japan at the 100 yen store. And it's like the dragon is blowing smoke. I've been working on my Japan adventure posts, my blog. This one from Kanazawa is taking forever. I worked on it 2 weeks now. Still haven't finished it, but it's making me get the wanderlust for Japan. I'm like, I want to go back to Japan. What is this? Oh my goodness. I think the foot came off. Hold on. I have my keyboard here for my laptop. My laptop is actually right here. My camera is standing on top of it. And just a keyboard. I think the foot came off. It did. Hold on. I suddenly saw this like little black thing. And I was like, what the heck is that? There. Guess I gotta not drag this across this plastic desktop. I've gotta lift it and place it or else some more feet will come up. There. Okay. Distraction over. I think I got all the lines. Let's double check. I'm just looking at this scene as it is. Trying to see if there's anything obvious. It's like, oops. Because it's a lot better if you can get it now using the transfer sheet, because if you find it later and just draw directly on the watercolor paper, it won't look, the graphite doesn't look the same. Well, I think I got it. I think I got it all. Okay, I looked at that. I'll just look on here one last time. Nice, it only took 35 minutes to do that. Well, probably less because I was chatting for a while at the beginning. Oh, Exie is back. Hello! Oh, and Satuita found out about the incense. Oh, that's nice then, that they don't kill trees to make the incense. Yes, I much prefer that. Oh, and thank you, Exie. Yay! I think I'm ready to start watercoloring. I'm just going to take a sip of my tasty tea. Man, it seems like the snow is coming down even harder. It was like big magical flakes. It's still magical, but it's like, it's coming down faster now. Like before it was kind of like this, but now it's like very steady in a straight line kind of snow. Wow. Okay. I know, since you can't see the snow unless you're here, it's not that exciting. It's not that exciting to hear me describe it. Okay, what I'm going to do first before anything else is put a sheet of paper on the back of this so that it doesn't get this graphite anywhere that I don't want it, especially once I put it into storage. So I'm just going to go around the back of my desk and get some sort of sheet of paper. Got all these Alright, I've used this for some test what do I call it? Like, kind of like swatching. I just tested some stuff on here before. I'll just use this. Oh, got my extra, well, it's a stack of like crafting drawers, but I use it when I'm watercoloring so I can hold more stuff, so I have more space to hold stuff. I had to move that back in order to sit down. So now I'm just going to put this on here and fold this tape down. Ja-jan! Now this is ready to just be stored along with that final sketch. And they go in, have a big craft. You know, it's usually advertised for scrapbooks, but I use it to put my art in. As I tried to keep all of the work materials together, and then that way when I'm working, so say like I was working on the previous pieces and then I didn't remember exactly what I used and I was ready to start this one, I got in there and I could see, oh, I used this, 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 and this. So yeah, I like to keep all that stuff nice and stored nicely, safely, and easy to access. Okay, so I'm going to put my drawing kit away because I'm pretty much done with this for this piece. Don't need this drawing kit anymore for this piece. And let's see. So I can move my water onto the desk now. And this is the watercolor kit that I've been using for these. There's a little hair on it. Little pet hair on it. Ah, that's something I needed. I needed to get, try to get this stuff. Fold down, there we go. It gets stuck. This gets stuck on the edge right here. But now I can put this up here like this. Or maybe I shall put this under here. Yes. Keyboard back. So I have this brush already in here, but I want a real big one to start with so that I can do a wash over the whole thing. And I guess I'll get my little blow dryer thing after that so that we don't have to sit here for the rest of the stream waiting for it to dry. Maybe this brush. It's even called a wash brush, 1-inch wash brush. Let's see. Weber is the brand. Prima. It says Weber 1 Prima white gold wash. And it's 6310. I don't know what that number is. Probably the item number. I'm just going to use this. Do a nice big wash of red, and also, so I'm looking at my reference image. So I've got this reference image where the background is actually pretty gray. But I think instead of such a, and even some parts it's so shadowy it's like black. But I would like to have the darkest colors because the birds that are the basis of this Gryphon are white feathers with black and brown feathers. So I would like the darkest color to be on these Gryphons. And that way they could stand out more. Although the branches are definitely going to be super dark too. But I don't want the branches to disappear into the darkness either. I'm imagining this being more in the later part of the day, but not the evening. Not when it's getting dark, but like late afternoon. So I think I'm going to do red and maybe some orange to fill in, and I'm going to fill in the whole thing with the idea that it's the atmospheric light is giving everything a a red and orange tint. And then I will also use this towel, although I think I better get a fresh one for this, to blot out any areas that I really want to save, like the white part of their bodies. I don't want that to be too red. I would like it to have the tiny little tint, but I want it to look like when the painting is done, these are white feathers that are just tinted red because it's in a red environment. So I'm going to come over here and get a fresh towel. I want a fresh towel because so I think this is acrylic on here, so it might actually be fine. But when you use it to blot, if you get this wet, and if this is not acrylic, then it could start putting green splotches down. And I've learned that the hard way in the past. So I'll just use this for swiping my brush on. Oh, thank you! Yay! I guess that means you like it. Thank you, thank you. Yes, I've been trying to get more work like this done, but I was like so dedicated to streaming, but I couldn't get dedicated to finishing this stuff. Even though this is like what I really want to do and what I would like people to find me because of. Yay! I'm very glad to hear that. Alright, I hope maybe if people stop in and they're like, oh, that's cool, and then they'll stick around and watch. So I'm just putting some water on my, I'm not sure how much of this you can see. Okay, you can't see this at all. Putting water on my little splotch of red-orange paint. This is just Sakura Koi watercolor. I like it. It doesn't smell bad. It's non-toxic, and it looks great. So that's what I'm going to use. Clap, 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 clap. I'm also going to get the water going, because the water can start soaking into the paint, and then that way even more pigment can get released from the dry paint. I'm also going to add some water to my more purpley red. And maybe even to the yellow. Because I really want the super autumn vibes. But before I put any pigment down on the page, I'm going to get it wet because I want it to be a nice even wash. I don't want any lines at this point from paint drying too quickly or something. Maybe a little bit more water on there. There. Now get the pigment out of this brush, and then I'll use the brush to go all over the page, completely cover the page in water. Nice and even. Get everything really wet but evenly. Side to side, top to bottom. Ah! Ooh, pet hair. Pet hair on the page. No! There, I got it. I think the last time I live streamed illustration work like this was when I was in school. That was a long time ago. Long time ago now. I mean, I graduated in 2021. So I'm now past my second year anniversary of graduating with my illustration degree. So I have not, I don't think, have not live stream illustration, my main type of illustration, in a couple years. I used to do it not just for school, back before I had like some specific, Chibi Friday I started doing pretty early in my streaming career, we'll call it. But and then I did Inktober when it came around in October and stuff, but until then I kind of randomly did stuff a lot. Or I'd do a lucky dip, but I wouldn't do it necessarily every week or something. Okay. I think this is nice and wet. Primed for, and I think you can see that too. Yeah, when I lift it up, you can see the light reflecting. Nice and evenly damp. So let's add some color. I'm going to add from light to dark. And just start mixing them in. And I don't want it to be too strong, so I'm just going to do a few patches and then start blending them. So this is just meant to be, you know, like atmospheric lighting. So I'm going to get even more water and just start blending it, even across the Gryphons, because I'll blot the Gryphons. And even if it's not, how can I say this? So I am perfectly okay with like organic coloring on the Gryphons from this atmospheric wash. So like if one Gryphon just has like a really red tail, that's okay. Because it always looks nice once all the more detailed paint is put on top. It always looks nice. So now I'm just brushing a little bit extra right here because these patches are not spreading as evenly as I would like. So just working it. Working the paint. And splotches over here on the side. That's why it's nice to use a much bigger page than what you actually need. So that there's plenty of room for either testing colors or for little splotches to go off onto the paper and not on your desk. At least for someone who likes to keep things neat like me. There. I think that's pretty good. Maybe just a little bit extra red in wherever there's a leaf. Oh, I don't know if you just heard that, but Aoife just did a little yawn. My big dog, Aoife. Okay, that's probably good. Now I'll clean that more thoroughly later, but just set that to the side. Now I'm going to take my paper towel and dab away. So what I do is take the paper towel flat, wrap it around my hand like this, wrap it around a few fingers, and then you can dab away anywhere where you think you would want less of this color. And then as it starts getting, so you'll get these little dots from your fingers, so as it starts getting more pigment, just change to a different part of the towel. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Satoita. I think it's already getting that nice autumny vibes, though it does look very pink, so it actually looks kind of springy, sakura looking, but I think this is good for... I'll fold this up more nicely. I think this is good for our undermost layer of color. So I'm gonna get out my... I was gonna say blowtorch. No. My heat gun. That's what it is. Oop. It's in my closet. I won't turn it on yet. Definitely want to mute the mic because it's loud, but here it is. And I gotta find a plug. Probably plug it in next to Chappie here. My little doggy Chappie. Oh good, there's even a plug available. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna mute my mic real quick and heat gun the water out of this. Oh. This thing is awesome. I have not been using it, and it's so good. That was like, what, 2 minutes? This is almost completely dry. It's not 100% dry, but I figure based on the timing, this is the perfect time for me to take my little 5-minute midstream break. So we'll see how much it dries during that break. So, and then if it's still not 100% dry, I feel like just 1 more minute of the heat gun will do it. So I'm going to put my little sign right there and mute my mic again. I'll be back in 5 minutes after a nice little break. Hopefully everybody else can take a break too if you need it. I'm back! Ah, it's so nice to stretch. I do like a full body stretches during my little breaks. It's very, very nice. Yeah, man. This is pretty much dry. Maybe the tiniest bit damp still, but definitely fine to be moving on with. So this is exciting. Time to put little detail paints on. Trying to, oh, hold on. Let me fix this for Jappy. Hold on, Jappy. Let me get this unplugged for you. There you go. I unplugged the heat gun as Chappie was worried about. It was going over her bed. She was worried about it, the plug. So I unplugged it. There. Put that away for now. I usually don't need to stop once I'm at this point. Oh, thank you for the welcome. Thank you for the welcome back. I don't usually need to stop to let things dry at this point in my painting process because it's all detail work basically. So I just work piece by piece and color piece by piece, color by color. So usually if I need something to dry, there's something somewhere else that I can work on in the meantime. Yeah, I think this will be a good size brush too. I might be able to do the entire painting with this brush. I probably did my last one with it. That's why this and this brush are the only ones I think I used this brush last time to give texture to snow. Because the last one I did in this series was the Winter Gryphon. Okay, so working from light to dark. Looking at, so I've got to make a decision about the coloration of the Gryphons because on the birds, or the real life birds, their backs, wings, and tails are black. But the underside, like their bellies and down by their legs, is actually white. Their faces are white and their bellies are all white. So I think what I'll do is have it just be like a sort of V-shaped pattern for the dark plumage and fur, and then like a black tail. Or maybe I'll do a brown tail, because there is brown on the wings like right here. And the shrew, which is the back half of these Gryphons, is brown. So that might be nice to come into a brown tail, even if it's like black, 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 black with a brown tail. Okay, so that means the lightest colored thing is, unless I want to do any texture work in the background first. What do I want to do? I might want to do that. I'm thinking. Yeah, let's do that first, actually. I'm changing my mind about what I'm going to work on. I need a sponge. And these natural sponges. I only ever bought one. I don't think I'll buy them again because I think they're animals. Actually, I think sponges are animals. Maybe they are aquatic. Maybe they're plants, but I don't want to paint with the dead body of an animal any more than I already have done. I'm not going to throw these away or anything, but anyway. I bought these once, and I've never needed another one. You can buy one, and then you can cut it up into little pieces. So I'm going to use this to add some texture in the background, especially in these blank spaces where I was just sort of figuring it would just look all leafy anyway. So I'm going to pull some paint and mix it on the palette here. I actually want kind of a combination of the two reds that I have. I have much more purpley red and I have a much more yellowy red. And I want something that's kind of in the middle. So I'm gonna mix them. Yeah. Oh, that's what I wanted. Now I can just rinse this brush out and see how far I can get with this patch. I think I'm going to use the side of the sponge and just suck up paint. Oh, maybe I actually want to get a little water in this sponge too. So I don't want it to be too precise actually. Just want texture, not the super specific shape of the sponge. Like if nobody realized that I used a sponge to do this, then that would be ideal actually. No! I'm sorry, animal! Well, now I know. Thank you. I am glad to know. Wow. Sponges are so cool. I didn't know that. Well, it's artificial material sponges for me from now on. Not taken from my ancient ancestor cousins anymore. Or whatever. That is actually really super cool. Sponges are possibly the first to branch off of the evolutionary tree from the last common ancestor of all animals. I am actually very glad to know that because I wondered about it. I thought that there were animals probably. I like to depict animals, not use them. if at all possible. If I am aware of it at least. But then again, this, I'm not going to like throw this away because of that, because I think that's an even more insult to the animal who died to make my little art sponge. I will just not buy more animal art sponges. And I probably won't need to. These last forever. I've never needed to buy another one. I bought this ages ago. Okay, I need to mix some more paint. I am allowing it. The auto mod held is. I'm gonna gatekeep sponges. Ancient animals. Well, I mean, the ones that are alive today aren't ancient. They were born. I wonder how long sponges live. The ones alive today are surely not the same exact ones. They haven't changed much since their ancient ancestors evolved in the first place. Okay, mixed myself some more paint. This is actually very, very pink. So maybe I will add, I wonder what will make it less pink. Maybe a little bit more of the orange. In fact, let's add a little yellow. Okay. More sponge work. So I haven't even gotten anything in here. And I do usually try to keep the color the same each time I mix a new batch, but I'm also not that bothered about it either. So it's a background stuff, so I think it's more important to me to just get the interesting color and shape in the picture than to be like clinically precise with my application. And like in this scene, the light could be hitting a different way, Or there could be another tree somewhere and it's changing the color. There's all kinds of natural reasons it might be a slightly different color here or there. Oh yeah, I think that, oh, that really helped. Oh, it's kind of hard to see. Oh, if I hold it like this, you can see the color better. It's because the paper is wet. It's the camera just sort of catches the shininess of the water, but yeah, it looks much more autumny and less springy. It was looking a little too springy and pink before. Oh, thank you, thank you! Yay! I'm glad to hear it. Yay! I'm all smiling. That's the biggest thing that I would like to do with my work, is just make people happy to see it. For whatever reason. Whether it's because they're like surprised, so many people are like, oh, I didn't realize they were griffins at first. Or just because it's a lovely nature scene. Or just the application of the watercolor itself. Hopefully I can create work that make people happy. Okay, now I'm just sort of trying to even it out, because when I was holding it up like this, I realized that it was a little patchy down here. And I don't want it patchy. So now I think I'll actually take a little bit from this old bit of paint right here that's like a magenta color. And I'm gonna add this to the corners to get some little vignette effect. And also some more variety of colors in this textured background. Oh, cool! Collecting favorite movies. Oh! My sleeper favorite movie is, oh, why can't I remember? Oh! The Forbidden Kingdom. The one with Jet Li and Jackie Chan in it. Oh, I love that movie so much, and it's like a modern telling of, it's like a prequel to The Journey to the West. If you made a poster for that, that would be awesome. I don't know very many people who know the movie, or like, I don't ever hear anybody else talking about it, but it's one of my faves. And the music for it is so good, and it's so funny, and it's like, has some epic story, and sorry, you get my whole opinion of the movie along with just the simple title of the movie. Okay, I'm just cleaning out this sponge. There. I think I'm done with the sponges now. I think you can tell the vignette effect. At the very least, you can see this. This ended up being lighter, and I totally don't mind, because this little section being lighter will hopefully bring the viewer's attention over here, because this is so these are all the stars, but this Gryphon right here is our main event. So I guess I do need the heat gun again, because I didn't think about doing texture, and now I want the heat gun. Yeah, I think so. Jackie Chan and Jet Li. If it's the one with them two in it, that's the one. Sorry, Chappie. I have to plug this in over Chappie again. Yay, I'm excited. You gotta post in the Discord. Oh, okay. Yay, you gotta post in the Discord when you make it. I'm gonna mute the mic again, because I'm gonna blow dry this thing. Boom, dry again. So Tuita, I want to say I totally agree about the Kung Fu. I always want to join a martial arts class after I watch that movie. I'm always like, maybe I'll join that Aikido dojo that's over here. Whatever, every single time. And I always look it up, and it's always super expensive, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I don't have time for that anyway. It takes way more time to properly learn the martial art, but yeah, it's so inspiring though. Okay, I got my heat gun put away again, and this is nice and dry. So awesome. I mean, once again, it's just a tiny, it's just barely, you can tell that it's more damp than the part that wasn't painted on, but I'm going to be working on these Gryphons, which are totally dry. I'll hold this up actually, so that you can get a really nice look at the effect of all the color and the texture that's on there so far. And then it's so nice, the graphite stays nice and still. It doesn't go anywhere, even with all of the water and all of the tapping and brushing and everything. So first couple steps complete of my watercolor process for these ones. Okay. I'm going to scoot over a little bit so the painting is not so close to the chat box. Just so it looks more even on the stream. Looks nice. There. Yay! I'm so glad! I'm so glad! Okay, so time to paint a little bit of details on the white fluffy parts of the Gryphons, which is like the heads and the chest and the underbelly. So, what kind of color do I want to use? Might actually, yeah, that might be a good idea. I'm going to revive this little bit of older paint. I love doing this. I do this all the time. There's some older color from a previous project. I just wake it back up and use it for the new project. Why not? That's what I love. Watercolor is very cost efficient. You can buy, I mean, I literally did. I bought this set of, how many? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. 18 colors. I bought this years and years and years and years and years ago, so long ago, and I've never had to buy another thing of watercolor. I do have some other watercolors that I got like from Art Snacks box or as a gift or something, but I've never had to buy more watercolor because I ran out. Because it's just, you can just keep reviving it over and over. So I'm just going to use this little gray, already pre-mixed. And that was something I remember getting a compliment from my painting professor actually for mixing my pigments and not just using them straight out of the tube. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that he noticed, because I love doing that. I love making more than just the basic color that I'm given. I like get precise about what kind of color am I looking for, and then create that. The thing that I want to remember as I paint these little fellows is that they're going to be in rather diffuse light because they're inside the tree. So, I mean, inside all the leaves and branches. So there won't be too many super dark shadows. But there's still enough shadow, I think, to show shape. And show that they're not flat. So that's what my goal is with painting them right now. Don't get anything too dark. And if it starts to get too dark, start adding more water to thin it out. And you can pull it off with the brush a little bit and then swipe it on the paper towel. Okay. little bit more on the head. One Gryphon done. The light feather part. And maybe I will alternate Gryphons too, because there's a little part right here where there's some little wet from this one meeting up with this one, and I don't want it to blend. I want it to have that sharp line between them. So I'm going to put the paint down in the part that I think is the darkest shadow and then just start spreading it out. And keep adding water or pulling pigment off. And you got to work kind of fast because it does dry rather fast. It seems kind of ironic because we had to use the heat gun to get it to dry faster, but with little teeny tiny spots like this, it actually dries quite fast. And I think even on this one here, there'll be shadow cast by its little branch mates. And then another thing you can do is, which I'm going to do, to make the edge softer, use the paper towel to soften up the edge between the part that you're not painting and the part that you are painting. So it's just nice, gradual transition. Yeah, that Gryphon. Wait, no, it's a little booty. It's a little booty hanging off. Needs a little shading. Little Gryphon booty. There. Okay, I'm looking at, so the references I have are all just random. This is not how they were. I cut different photos of different, what were these called? Enaga. And used Photoshop to paste them in a line. But I'm still just going to go ahead and use them as reference for the lighting. Because it's even though the lighting is different a little bit on each one, it's still enough that it informs the viewer about the shape of the head. So it's not just one round thing. Like, there's a little bit of contour here and coming out of the cheek and that kind of thing. So even if it doesn't technically match up from Gryphon to Gryphon, I think it'll be fine to use that as a reference. Okay, so let's do this little fellow. And this one I really changed. I really changed from the reference image. The one in the reference image is not bent over like this or anything. This is all imagination. So just going to use my imagination and, you know, the information that I have from the previous ones that I've painted to like estimate what the shadow probably would be. So there's tends to be shadows near the eyes is a big one I'm noticing that I wouldn't have realized. I wouldn't have done out of imagination. I only realize it thanks to the reference image. Their feathers fluff out around their eyes. It's very cute. That means there's a little shadow. Let's lighten it up a little bit. There. And we'll go back to this one because I think this is dry enough now. Yep, it's totally dry. It was very light, so maybe you didn't hear it, but Aoife just did a little yawn. Well, kind of sound. Aw, the snow stopped. Oh well. My snow. Maybe there will be more. It's still saying that it's gonna rain next week. I hope not, because it's gonna take all my snow away if it rains. Okay, one more right here. Well, this is still a little bit damp, so maybe I will. I think the belly part on here should be white. Oh, it's already raining? No! My lovely snow! You were right, it is warming up. We had those awesome big flakes of snow just an hour ago. Now they're gone. Oh well. At least I got to enjoy it in the moment and watch it magically falling outside my window. I painted outside the line a little bit, but I was able to rescue it using a towel. And this part I totally have to use my imagination on because this is all drawn from imagination. I do have the reference image for the shrew, but the shrew is just sitting on the ground, not jumping like this. This is the kind of thing where it's great if you've drawn lots of animals, lots of different animals jumping or being active, because then you can just use your imagination combined with the reference to make a fairly believable pose. A little bit more dark shadow here at the bend of the leg. Okay, now I think it's dry enough to finish this last little branched griffin. Okay, so probably here. And then this one has its little griffin booty hanging off the most out of anybody. And let's dab right here to make it a more gradual transition or a gradient. And do a little bit around the eyes, just like with everybody else. Now they kind of look like little ghostly figures with their empty, dead white eyes. But once we add the little black and especially some cute white highlights on top, then they'll look more alive. wake some of this watercolor up and dab it. So it dried a little hard, hard-edged. I'm gonna soften it up a bit. Something that's nice about watercolor is that you can revive it like that. You can't completely remove it or anything, but you can adjust even after it's dry. Aoife's getting impatient. She wants to leave. Ah, my husband is going out front for some reason, and she hears it. She hears the front door opening. Let's see. What'll be the next darkest color? Maybe the brown on the tails and the wings. So let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna think about what color brown I want. It's a pretty orangey brown. I think I'll wake up this color. And maybe I'll mix it with this leftover bit of orange from the background. Aoife's wagging her tail. We still got half an hour. Half an hour. Oh, Chappie's getting up too. I guess I'll let them out. So they're so bored. They just lay in here with me, waiting for me to do something exciting. I want to go out. I don't know if you heard their enthusiastic running away across the floor. I bet they'll want back in eventually. They always do. When they're like, "Aw, there's not actually anything going on. Guess we'll just go back." Okay, maybe I'm gonna add a little bit of this darker brown too, to temper this. This is a little bit too sunny. Yeah, like fruit. I do want that orange tint, but oh yeah, this is more like what I want. I need more pigment, I think. How about a little bit more of this redder brown? And even a touch more of actual orange. There we go. This is what I want. Okay. Yay. I'm glad you could hear it. They were so excited to leave. Wagging their tails as I open the door. And it's scampering off. Okay. So I'm going to do this brown on their tails. And then also, they just have this little brown patch, like right here on their wings. And it's not quite the same on each bird. I'm looking at my reference images over here. It's not quite the same. Some of them have more of a white patch, and some of them have a really big brown patch and then white. Which means it's okay if I don't do it exactly the same for everybody. Just the overall effect. And right now so for the white feathers I did do shading, but actually right now I'm more interested in laying down flat color and then doing shading on top of that. It's just for the white feathers, the flat color is the background, is the paper, so may as well get that shading on there. So the shadows will still be lighter than any other color that will be around it. I guess their little back feet are kind of the same color, so I'll do those as well. The shrew feet. They're kind of a pinky brown, but I'll just make them the same color. Because it's like it's the same color as the tail, it's just the tail has more fur on it that makes it even more brown. The claws, though, are white. So leave the claws unpainted. And I like this 300-pound paper actually because it does hold on to the water for longer. So like for painting this foot here, I'm not getting too many lines where different applications of this color are meeting and then creating a line. I was able to just make it all nice and even. So I really like that. I really like that I can do that on the heavier paper. Okay, so I actually can't really tell where the brown would be on this wing. I think I wouldn't be able to see it because it's curving around to the front, and the area that seems to have it is, well, maybe you'd be able to see it, but just barely up here. Oh, no, hold on. She's back. I can hear her. Did you have a good break? Aoife's back. Gonna help me finish this painting? She's just standing here wagging her tail. Okay, she's going to lay down. Yeah, so I think I'll put it right here. So I can't really see it on the reference image very much, but I think that's where it would be. And as I think that and I look at the reference, I'm like, oh, maybe that's a little tiny itty bitty few pixels of this brown. Because it's like right here where the wing becomes the back. With this one is the one you can see it on the best in the reference. My reference collage. Oh, another helper. Come on, Chubby. Good girl. They had fun figuring out what all the commotion was, and now they're ready to continue supporting my work in here by laying down and being cute. Okay, so can't really see this brown on many of these references, except this one we definitely can. So let's do, I'm talking about on the wings, of course it'll be on the tails for everybody. This section is very, very brown. I'm trying to do little strokes to make it look like they're little feathers, and then a little bit on this one. Feathery strokes to literally depict feathers. And then maybe a tiny bit wrapping around on this one. I will do on this side too. This is another one that I actually changed from the reference to be facing more this way. In the reference it's facing this way, but it's kind of awkward with the way this one is for this to, anyway. Okay, so now their tails. Their tails and their feet. Well, their back feet. The front feet are black. The front feet on the Gryphon are the bird feet. These are front feet. Here's the back foot. And this is the tail from the one in on the very right, sticking way out. Now this one I do have, oh, but the claws are white, so I will leave that actually. I had some of the claws showing. But then I remembered the claws are white, so I gotta leave that. Leave it unpainted. And now, just like with a lot of the piece so far, I'm just working toward my dominant hand so that I'm always working toward dry areas and not getting my hand in wet paint and then smearing it or smudging it or transferring it. I've done that before. Get my hand in some paint, don't realize it, put my hand down, and then it makes a little stamp. Man, look at all this progress. We still have 15 minutes left and all this progress. So glad I could trick myself into making the work that I want to make. It's so weird how the things, I know other people experience it this way, but at least for me, for sure, the things I want to do most are the things that I put off the most. This doesn't make any sense. I guess maybe my expectations are too big and then it's overwhelming and I end up trying to escape from my own expectations or something, but combining a thing that was basically a habit, live streaming, with the thing that I really, really, really wanted to get done, which are these bigger illustrations, bigger, more detailed illustrations, it's working like a charm. This is only my third session. Okay. I think that's all the brown stuff. And maybe this would actually not be claw quite yet. I'm gonna move the paint a little forward on this foot. Now that I'm looking at it. So maybe the next darkest thing is the leaves. Oh, I'm stretching and reading Satsuhi's message. Ah, yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. Well, there. Just even in our teeny tiny group right here, a confirmation that I'm definitely not the only person who does this. The thing I love doing the most, the thing that I feel the most happy when I work on it and when I finish it and when I start a new one, and it's the thing that I put off the most. Now I'm just trying to see, where do I want to start with the leaves? Maybe I'll start with mixing a color. So I think it'll be nice to paint the leaves in various, like slightly different shades, because when I'm looking at the reference image, that's kind of what it is. They are all overall a very vibrant red color, but some of them are almost like a coral orange color, and then some of them even bits of yellow, maybe because of the light shining through, I don't know, but I figure I'll try and get a variety of colors onto these leaves. And even within the same leaf, there seems to be different colors, but I can get that through the different layers for shading and stuff. But let's mix. This will be my first leaf color, especially because there's only 13 minutes left, so I don't think I'll be able to paint every single leaf yet. So this will be great. I'll come back tomorrow and mix a slightly different color. So this one I add a lot of yellow. Let's get a little bit of brown in there maybe too. Or actually, let's put a little bit of blue. Tiny bit of a complementary color to temper it. To temper it a bit. Maybe A little bit more red. Okay, a little bit more red. It's a little too orange. Yes. There. Ooh, nice. Nice, 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 nice. I like this. I like this color. Whee! Okay. First leaf color. Let me just do a basic clean out of the brush. I find that if I rinse out as much of the paint as I can at this point, when I go to properly clean it later, it's really easy to get the rest. Okay, like I did for the brown sections of the Gryphons, I'm just going to start with the leaves up here and move down, but I'm not going to paint each individual one going down because I want this to look kind of organic. So I'll like paint this one, then maybe paint this one, then this one, so that when I come back, a different mixture of red will be used on the neighboring leaf. Hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully at least it will make sense once I do it. Oh, it looks so good putting it on the paper with the background color. It's mixing with the background color too. Ah, it's so nice. It's so nice. I just got my 10-minute notification to 10 minutes of the stream left, and I'm almost like, oh, I don't want to stop, but I gotta stop because it's gonna be dinner time and time to play video games. This year as well. Last year I made it one of my goals to give myself downtime to tame my workaholic side, and so I'm continuing that this year because it's so nice actually to have this dedicated hour every day to enjoy my hobby of video gaming. So even though this is super fun and I am so happy with how this color is coming up, look at this beautiful, beautiful color. No, I will not stream extra. I'm gonna stick to my schedule. It's also just good for my physical health as well to not be sitting in the same spot for too long. Okay, so I'll do this leaf with this color next. Bright and happy, yes! That is exactly what I'm going for. Not just with this, with all of my art. Exie also thinks it's nice. Yeah! It turned out so nice. Ah, watercolor is so fun. This is why I like physical media, because you never know. Sometimes I put a color down and I'm like, oops, no, that's not what I wanted. And then I like take the towel, try to dab away as much as I want, or as much as I can, and then I paint over it with a different combination of a different mixture, and then I'm like, oh, okay, that's better. But I mean, that part is fun too. To do watercolor digitally, it's way easier to get exactly the color you want, or remove it if you don't like it. But actually the challenge of the physical media is what makes me like it so much. Ah, that's so cute. They're so cute. The leaves are so cute. Now they're getting color on them. Instead of just, they technically have color, but they're getting their own individual color. They're coming to life. Once I'm done with watercolor, I'll be adding detail using ink. Using colored ink for any areas where I'd like to do a little outline. And sometimes I've done like some hatching with ink as well to add texture or more shading. And then, of course, using white ink for little taps of, or I might use white ink, I might use white gouache, which is opaque watercolor. So that might not be ink. But I have white ink, so it doesn't really matter to me which one I use Just use whichever one I think of at the time to do those final little touches of white highlights, especially in the eyes. It brings everybody to life to put the highlights in the eyes. And this is so awesome. I'm just going to keep, I wonder how long it will take for me to stop talking about how awesome it is that I'm making so much progress. I've been working on this, like, well, not working. It's that thing. I worked on it, and then I always had an excuse not to work on it for like a month. So I think I got this. I got my thumbnail sketches done in October or November. And then I think it was like October I got the thumbnails done. November I got the reference images collected and made into a collage. And then December I didn't touch it at all. And now here I am, January, only 3 2-hour sessions in, and it's like, it's got to be close to halfway done. I'm just astounded. If I can just focus, then I can get so much done. I mean, admittedly, December was full of... It was super busy for normal reasons, like birthdays and holidays. For some reason, I have the most birthdays among people I know in December. And then we also had some family emergencies, so there were definitely legit excuses, but there were also definitely other things I could have put aside instead of this. Oh well, it's all water under the bridge. I don't have to worry about it anymore. We got the here and now, and the here and now is going awesome. For me. These colors are so dreamy too. Autumn is my favorite season, so I think this is going to be my favorite of these pieces. So I think you can tell now what I meant about I was going to work from this side to this side, but not paint each individual leaf and use this same color for each individual leaf until I run out of that color. I want to get a variety of colors all over the place. I think after this leaf, if I still have a decent amount of time, I'll add a little bit of extra different color to what we've currently got. Start painting some leaves with that, with the updated color. Alright, got 3 minutes. Let's see what we can add. Maybe a little darker, some brown, and then maybe even a little darker blue. And what the heck, the leaves were surely green previously. Or maybe they weren't. There's some trees that have like purple leaves. But I'm going to do some of this. Ah, nice. Nice reddish brown color with the last 2 minutes that we have. So I can probably paint 1 leaf with this updated color. Let's do this one. The puppies were so active like 10 minutes ago, and now one of them is already snoring. And of course, these are not the final colors of the leaves. These are just the base color. We'll still add a little shadows and maybe just extra splashes of other colors. Even if it's not because of a shadow or something. In fact, this brownish red is nice. I'm gonna just use it for the stem too. Didn't do that for the other ones because I figured they would have a slightly different colored stem. Oh, the snoring's getting louder. He gets chappy. He gets chappy snoring. Okay. Ah, perfect timing. Yay. Wow, we're coming so far. Here's a close-up look. Let's see if I can. It's hard to see because when I hold it this high, the paper's right in my face and it's very bright to me. So it's hard to see if it's focused. Okay. Camera is focused. So here's how far we got. Laying down. We got all the background. Oh, the white balance is having a struggle. It's making it way cooler than it should be. But we got all the basic wash down and some textured. That's more of a wash too. Some textured wash, we'll call it. And then started adding the base colors. And the first layer of shading on the white feathers. Yay! So, that's where I will leave you today. Oh yay! I'm glad you like the textures. Or that you think they're neat. Oh, and you're welcome, Axie! Yes, I shall leave you all here. And hopefully see you tomorrow. I'll be back just working on this. I'll probably just leave everything the way it is except for change my water and wash my brushes. So yeah, hope to see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching.